Thanks, Chrissy, and thanks to RIU. Isn't it great to be back and talking about resource stocks that are going up for a change, it's always good. But yeah, I suppose today we're going to talk about the Khoa Nickel project in northern Vietnam and how at Blackstone we're positioned to feed what is going to be a growing demand for, we believe, green nickel, which is for the lithium-ion battery industry. And I'll talk to you about what green nickel really means today. So we've got an international portfolio of battery and precious metals projects across the globe. We started in Western Australia as nickel and gold explorers out the back of Kalgoorlie, as most juniors start their sort of journey, and then we looked for cobalt in the Goldbridge project in British Columbia. We're still really interested in that project, so that's number 2 there on the chart. That's a district scale opportunity. We're seeking joint venture partners. We think it's much bigger than a junior mining company can handle. So we're talking to some of the biggest mining companies in the world on that asset. We're still exploring out at the back of Kalgoorlie with the Silverson South project as well, and we continue to look for gold and nickel sulfides out there. But today it's all about the Khoa Nickel Sulfide District in northern Vietnam. We have an existing and established mine that's under care and maintenance. The previous owners sunk $136 million into the capital infrastructure, which gives us a great platform to, we believe, build a growing nickel mining company. Really important slide for everyone when you're investing in mining stocks. I used to analyse mining stocks for a living. This is probably the most important slide. You need to understand who your management team is, and I've got one of the better board and directors in the market, Hamish Halliday, Steve Parsons. Steve's he's on fire at the moment. He's taken Bellevue from, I think, 2 cents to $1 or something ridiculous. He's doing it again with Orteco, and there's a number of other companies that Steve's having a lot of success with. But Hamish and Steve have done this for 20 years, so great mentors for me, and yeah, hopefully I can one day be as good as those two. We've got a very strong, I suppose, technical board and some really strong management in the background. Steve Enor is the project manager. He's the metallurgist that we bought the mine off, and he's been in country for 10 years. He's currently running the show over there in Vietnam, so he's going to help me restart the mine. Just on the capital structure, we just raised $21 million. We brought in Fidelity. Fidelity is one of the biggest institutional investors in the world, and we're very happy to bring them on as a major shareholder. Board and management, you can see there, 14%. That's really important that you've got skin in the game from the board and management team. We've also got EcoPro, and we'll talk about who they are, but that's one of the largest cathode manufacturing companies in the world, and they've brought on Mr. Cuong, who's also on the board, their representative. And we've also got Deutsche Balaton out of Germany, being a very supportive shareholder over many years now. So this is why we're here. So we built this relationship with the Korean battery end users. We went looking for cobalt in Canada, and they said, by the way, we're reducing the cobalt and we're increasing the nickel. So they're moving away from the initial battery was a 1:1:1 ratio of nickel manganese to cobalt in the cathode, and now they're moving to an 8 times nickel to 1 times cobalt and 1 times manganese. So 40% of the cost of the cathode is in nickel and cobalt, and nickel obviously being cheaper than cobalt and more easily accessible than cobalt, which is accessed out of the DRC Congo. There's been an engineering shift towards high nickel cathode. So one thing that we will talk about is green nickel. So Elon Musk came out the other day and said he will give a giant contract for a long period of time if you mine nickel efficiently in an environmentally sensitive way. And we believe we've got one of those projects that will be considered green nickel. We have renewable hydro power we're already plugged into. But it's important to know there's 2 types of nickel. There's class 1 nickel and class 2 nickel. Class 2 nickel, unfortunately, is not suitable for batteries, and class 1 nickel is the most difficult nickel to explore and develop. So it's particularly of the type sulfide, so you'll need to be looking for sulfide nickel, or you want to be building a HPAL plant, which is unfortunately costs about $1 billion. So we're not in the game of building billion-dollar projects. We're in the game of finding nickel sulfide for the Class 1 nickel, which goes into the battery. So you can see the charts there. Class 1 nickel, not much around, a lot of demand coming from the batteries. Class 2 nickel, plenty of it, and not going to be suitable for the batteries. But most, in particular, we need to be looking for Class 1 nickel, but also green nickel. So this is EcoPro. So it's the largest cathode manufacturer in South Korea, second largest in the world. So you can see there, two of their customers, Samsung and SK Innovation. So through our partnership with EcoPro, we are already connected to some of the biggest battery manufacturers in the world. EcoPro came in the COVID dip. Unfortunately, it was very difficult for us to access capital. They came in and paid a 62% premium to market, and they paid 17 cents. At the time, the market was very difficult. They now own around 12 to 13% of the company and a very supportive partner and very focused on building a downstream processing facility with EcoPro in northern Vietnam. This is what we're trying to achieve. So we're going to use the existing concentrator. We've drilled out the first ore body, which is the Phuc ore body. We've got a large disseminated ore body, very similar to the Mount Keith nickel mine, which is in Western Australia, one of Western Australia's best nickel mines. We've got the hydro power plant down the road, so we've got very low power costs, but it makes for renewable power, which is going to drive this green nickel for us. We're going to take the concentrate and we're going to convert it into the nickel sulfate form, which is for the lithium-ion battery, and we're going to do that with our partner EcoPro. Down the road, LG are looking to build a $2 billion lithium-ion battery plant in Haiphong, which is the port city nearby the mine. So we're 6 hours west of Hanoi, and we're in probably one of the most emerging or biggest growth stories happening today in Southeast Asia is happening in northern Vietnam. So we've got a particular type of geology. It's the magmatic nickel sulfide, so very similar to what we see in the Fraser Range and Challis's Julimar. Also the same age setting as the Norilsk district in Russia. We've got the same structural setting as Jinchuan. Jinchuan's one of the largest magmatic nickel sulfide districts just to the north of us in China. So it's a particular type of geology that creates and produces or allows for the finding of some of the biggest nickel sulfide mines in the world. So you can see here, we've gone and drilled out this first ore body. It's right next to the existing concentrator. So we've got the existing concentrator, we've got $136 million of infrastructure, and we've gone and drilled out the first ore body, and we're very close to our maiden resource in the coming weeks. As we were drilling out this ore body, we discovered this high-grade zone. It's called the King Cobra Discovery Zone. So you can see that we just need to keep chasing that down and try and hopefully find the source of the mineralisation, and we continue to drill out this King Cobra Discovery Zone as we speak. So some of these holes won't be in the maiden resource. We had to put a line in the sand and say, okay, everything up to that, about the point of the COVID situation was where everything that will go into the maiden resource. Some of these holes will be in an upgraded resource later in the year. So that's the Phuc. So Phuc is right next to the concentrator, very centrally located. We're now moving out to Ban Chang. Ban Chang is our first of 25 massive sulfide vein targets. Massive sulfide is a higher grade type, more usually for underground mining. The Phuc, which we just looked at, is most likely going to be a very large open pit mine like Mount Keith in Western Australia. So this is what it looks like over at Ban Chang. We're hitting massive sulfide with every hole, and it looks like it's a massive sulfide system. You can see there we've got plenty of shiny rocks, and that's the sort of thing that gets the investors excited. So hole 1, you can see, hit some good grades around 2 to 3% nickel, 1 to 2% copper. We've got very strong platinum, palladium and gold credits. And then we stepped out 1 kilometre and we hit the same stuff again. So this is a target. It's about 2 kilometres strike. Most likely looks more like an underground scenario. and we just continue to drill out Ban Chang with 3 drill rigs as we speak. As we drilled it out, we were sort of looking for something we thought was fairly narrow, and then we've got these big broad zones up to 21 metres. So we've got these sort of veining within a broader disseminated zone. So it's looking like it could be potentially a more bulk underground or even open pit scenario at Ban Chang. As we were using our geophysics team, so we've bought our own electromagnetic equipment, we've trained up the local geophysicists, and we continued to do the geophysics out to the east of Ban Chang, and then we came through with the trenching, and we found further massive sulfide or sulfide targets. So this is what we're calling a blind discovery, because of those 25 targets, they're all outcropping targets. The previous owners didn't use the modern geophysics, and the modern geophysics, which we've trained up the local geophysicists, is making blind discoveries as well. This is our 3rd target, or the 2nd of our massive sulfide vein targets. We're drilling Cuong at the moment. You can see we've got the EM plate on the edge of the mag feature. So the mag is indicating ultramafic. There's a good chance we've got a large disseminated system with some massive sulfide associated. This is 2 of the 25 targets. So we're just systematically moving through this belt, and will take us 12 to 18 months to unlock this nickel sulfide district. But this is what it's all about. This is why we went there looking with the Koreans. We went there looking to build a downstream processing facility to convert the nickel concentrate to the downstream product, which is the nickel sulfate for the lithium-ion battery industry. So through our relationship with EcoPro, we'll now look to build what is the downstream processing to convert the nickel concentrate to the downstream product, which is the nickel sulfate. So most of our nickel peers, they sell their concentrate to a BHP or a Glencore, and they get a payability of the nickel price, which is actually a discount to nickel metal. Our final product will be a nickel sulfate, which trades at a significant premium to the nickel metal price because of the demand coming from the lithium-ion battery industry. So well positioned with our partner EcoPro to build this in northern Vietnam. We will build it on the renewable hydropower. We will use the modern techniques. We'll build this to a world-class and an Australian standard. Couple of key announcements coming: maiden resource scoping study, further studies next year, then restarting the mine in 2022, restarting and building that downstream processing facility in 2022 to deliver into the lithium-ion battery industry in 2023. Just in summary, we've got a portfolio of battery and precious metals. We've got a maiden resource and scoping study coming in the next few weeks. We will be showing the market what that downstream processing looks like from a CapEx and an OpEx and an NPV perspective. Well funded now with bringing on the $21 million in the last few days. But most importantly, we've got a board and management team that's done this time and time again, and we're really excited to do it for the Blackstone shareholders going forward. Thank you.